So if you're not making the sales volumes on Etsy that you would expect to be making, then I can pretty much guarantee that there are genuine reasons for this. And sometimes it could be down to things that we're just doing subconsciously that we literally don't even realize. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk through the exact reasons why you're probably not making the sales on Etsy that you should be making. So if you're new here, my name's Alfie, and I'm a multi-six-figure Etsy seller, and I've also had some pretty good success with some of my other e-commerce brands. So let's start with the first reason why you're not making the sales that you should be making, and this is because customers don't trust your shop. So I just want to ask you a really quick question. If you go onto your Etsy shop, what does the conversion rate of your shop say? Is it below 5% or is it above 5%? Because this conversion rate is going to tell us so much valuable information about how customers are actually trusting our items that we're trying to sell. So the chances are, if you've got a really low conversion rate, maybe like 1%, 2%, then this could mean that a lot of customers are going onto your items and onto your store, but for whatever reason, they're just not clicking the button to make the purchase. And more often than not, this is gonna be because they don't trust your shop. So to combat this, what do we need to do? We need to get customers to trust our Etsy shop more. And the easiest ways to do this is so simple. You just wanna get a professional, clean Etsy shop banner that kind of matches your brand aesthetic. You want to get ideally a logo which also kind of matches up with your banner, so you've got that same sort of style throughout the shop. You want to complete the About Us section, so tell your story, make it clear to shoppers that are going on your store that it's actually a real store and it's run by you, a real person. And these things are absolutely crucial, especially in the early days when you've got not many reviews and you don't have a massive sales history to also back up your shop. That kind of gives customers that social proof that, if they buy from you, they're gonna get a good product, it's gonna be delivered in good time, and they're definitely gonna get what they paid for. And then moving on to the second reason now, and this is probably because you just don't have enough listings on your store. So, a massive part of what I do is working with a lot of you guys to kind of help you take your business to the next level. And I've noticed a real common trend of a lot of people that come to me struggling to make sales. And I go on their store, I take a look at their store initially to see what's wrong, what jumps out at you straight away. And a lot of the time, they've only got maybe say 10 to 20 listings on their store. And they're wondering why they're not making the incredible sales volumes that you see some people making on YouTube. And you really need to understand how Etsy works to understand this. So having a lot of listings is very important on Etsy, okay? This gives you the opportunity to hit a wider audience, which in turn is gonna give you a lot more clicks on those listings, which in turn is then also gonna give you a lot more clicks into your shop, where customers are then kind of scrolling through your catalog of listings rather than remaining on the busy homepage looking at all of your competitors. And in addition to this, the more listings you have, the more opportunity you have to test what actually works and what doesn't with the shoppers that are actually shopping on Etsy. So you think, how much more valuable stats would you be getting from the marketplace if you had 100 listings that people are clicking on, and you can see what sort of items are getting the most clicks, you can see what sort of items are getting the most favorites, versus if you only had, say, 5, 10, 15 items. You're gonna get so much more valuable information to work from with the higher amount of listings, just purely because there's more listings there, so you'll have more stats to work from. And then of course, once you know what's working, you double down in that area and you use that to scale the business going forward. And you could have one store that spends, say, a month and their only output is 10 listings in a month. Whereas you could have another store which the same time output of a month, but in terms of product output, maybe they've made 100 listings in that month versus a store that's only made 10. So, you can take both stores here. They've both technically been working at it the same amount of time. However, one's only got an output of 10 and the other's got an output of 100. And store A could be saying, oh, I've been on Etsy for a month now and I'm getting no success, it's broken, Etsy doesn't work. And the other store could be saying, oh, I've been on Etsy for a month and the results are pretty good. Like I'm getting a lot of clicks and a lot of favorites. And this is why I think it's really important to never measure your success on the time that you've been going or the time that you've put into your shop, but it's a lot better to measure your success rate on the actual physical output that you've produced with that time. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to you guys. But anyway, moving on to the next reason, and this is purely because your listings just aren't that clickable. So you got to think, right, what's the chain reaction that ends up as the result being you making a sale? The very first thing is that you need to get somebody to click on your product. They then go onto your product or onto your store. They read about your product, they look at the images, they like what they see, the product's what they want, and then they click buy. But if we don't have that first step sorted out, so if we're not getting people to click on our products in the first place, then everything that we do after that is just wasted time. It doesn't matter. So it's crucial to improve the shelf appeal, as I like to call it, of your product. So what is this? Why do people click on our products? It mainly comes down to two things, in my opinion. Firstly, the images. The images need to look beautiful and they need to stand out to get people to actually look at them, stop scrolling, and then click on them in the first place. Secondly, of course, the price needs to be right. So, you could have beautiful pictures, you could be showing up right at the top of searches, everything could be perfect, but if you're selling your product at a price which is 50 or 100% over all of the competition that's showing up on the same page, then yeah, you're not going to get that first click, because why would somebody click on it? Because we all like a good bargain, right? So there's two things I recommend to do that you can literally do today to improve your product's shelf appeal. Number one is always going to be to improve your photography, improve your mock-ups depending on what you're selling, and just market your products visually a lot better. So this is something we can all do. I've always got room for improvement in this regard in my own stores as well. And, I don't know about you, I don't know what your store looks like, but if you really think about it and you really boil it down, maybe there's also room for improvement in this area in your store. And this is one area where I do recommend that we are quite hard on ourselves, because I've been on Etsy for basically 3 years now. And if there's one standout factor that I've learned that leads to sales, and if you can just change one thing overnight that's going to improve your sales, it's going to be your photography, your mock-ups, and your listing images. And then of course, moving on to the second factor, which is going to be the price. After you've changed your images and your images are good, if you're still not getting clicks, then you're at a point where you literally have nothing to lose. I would just lower the price bracket down. Even if this means lowering your price to an at cost, so where you're not making any profit on the listing, because you're not making sales on it anyway. So in my mind, you might as well just lower it down to that level, and then sales may well pick up, and then you just keep knocking the price up gradually until you find a level where you're still getting a decent amount of sales, so you're not turning customers away, but you're also still making enough of a profit that it's actually worth it for you. So I'm going to move on to the fourth reason now, and this is because of bad reviews and bad customer service. So that me, you, your family, your friends, everybody in this world is the exact same. If we're looking at buying something, more often than not, we're going to look at the reviews, and there's a lot of people, and you may be the same, I don't know, but there's certainly a lot of people in this world that if they see a bad review right at the top, that will just put them off the whole listing, even if all the rest of them are absolutely perfect. So there's two things that we need to do here to improve our sales. And the first thing is going to be to just try and completely eliminate our risk of getting these super killer bad 1-star reviews. And the easiest way to do this, right? If someone leaves you a bad review, message them instantly. And even if it means that you need to fully refund that order, I don't care what it costs, just do it, honestly. In the long term, the impact of having a 1-star really negative review is going to massively outweigh the cost of one order that you're going to have to refund that customer. I promise you. I've been on Etsy long enough now to know that this is the case. Customer service is so important. And of course, the next way that we can actually switch this around and use it as a reason to actually improve our sales is to literally just get more reviews. So As I alluded to at the start, trust is a massive reason why you're either not getting sales or you're getting loads of sales. The more reviews that we have, the more social proof and the more trust customers are just automatically going to have in our products. And you know, I've seen it in my stores as well. As sales go up and as reviews go up, average conversion rate also tends to go up. So you know, this is just a massive, massive, massive reason why for every single order you make, every customer, I would be sending them a personal message. I know it's going to take a little bit of time, but especially at the start, if you've got, say, under 100 reviews, this is essential. Message every customer, make sure they're happy, ask how they feel about the product. Yeah, again, just make sure they're completely happy and ask if you're comfortable, would you mind supporting our small business and leaving us a review? More often than not, you're gonna get some reviews back from this. And just quickly, guys, I just wanted to mention, if you are really struggling with your business and you have got barriers that you just cannot break through and you are just not making the sales that you know that you should be making and that your business deserves to be making, then I am genuinely here if you need that help, okay? I've worked with enough of you now, I've seen enough positive results to have a lot of confidence in it. The people I've worked with have built businesses and they have made sales and they have scaled. And so I know the value that I can give to you. And if this is something you're interested in, just feel free to book a free call. There's a link in the video description. We'll see if we're a good fit to work together. My books are currently open for new coaching clients. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, then I'm always here to help. But anyway, moving on to the next reason now why you are not making the sales that you deserve. And this is because your listings have unanswered questions in them. So look, let's face it, pretty much any little reason that we can give a customer to click off our listing and not spend their hard-earned money on our products, they're definitely gonna take it. And so this means if there's any unanswered questions at all that the customer's unsure of with our products and how we've presented our products and the information that we've given them, then they are not going to trust it and it's going to leave them with an unanswered question and they're just going to leave the product. So when I talk about this, I mean things like what's the delivery timescales? If you're buying an item of clothing, for example, what's the fit like? What's the dimensions? What's the materials of your product? If you're selling digital products, how does it work? How do they get the download? How do they use the download? You know, all of these sorts of things, if the customer doesn't know this from your listing and they can't get this information within, say, the first few minutes of looking on your listing, then a lot of customers won't bother taking the time to message you and they'll just go off of your listing. They'll go on another competitor's listing that has this information. They're gonna feel more sure and they're just gonna buy that product over yours. So I really wanna try and get you into the habit of when you're writing out your descriptions and your listing titles and you're choosing the pictures to use, think from a shopper's point of view. So something I do is something I'm sure that you've done before as well. We've all done it. We always try and list our products from a seller's point of view rather than a customer's point of view. So we're always trying to say, oh look, this is our product, it's amazing, this is all the cool things it does. We never think about the questions that the buyer would have when they're looking at this product. So I just want to kind of get you in that mindset of thinking about it a little bit differently to how you currently are maybe. All these little things I've talked about today, they will make a massive difference to your sales. I promise you, I've seen it myself. And look, I'm gonna cut it there, guys. I hope you got a lot of value from this video. If you did, feel free to check out some of my other content completely for free on YouTube. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.